Hello, everyone. Welcome to Blab and Bitch, a podcast where no topic is off limits and we always keep it real and raw. I'm your host, Bianca. Let's get into it. So today we have a very special, lovely guest. This is Rachel. She is one of my best girlfriends out here in LA. And today's episode is all about self-love, self-care, and what that looks like. And I figured, who else would I bring on other than the self-love girl herself, Rachel?
Aww. Hi, everyone. I am so honored to be here. I'm so looking forward to this topic and to being on this podcast. So I'm excited to get into it.
We're going to start with a little icebreaker. What is your go-to song when you need a confidence boost?
Ooh, okay. I am having a moment with Gracie Abrams right now. And so I love all of her music, but I would say That's So True is amazing. Just hypes me up, you know?
So good. I love that song also. I belted in the car. I think my confidence boost song would be probably Her by Meg Thee Stallion. I put that on. I walk on the treadmill at like a 4 mile per hour pace.
Love.
Feeling myself.
Amazing.
It's a good one. If you could have one item to like treat yourself to, what would it be?
Could I pick like nails, for example?
Of course.
Okay, so definitely nails. I feel like that is the thing that just makes me feel the most complete always, and like have fun with any design. I just like so nice to go listen to a podcast, get yourself a nice little beverage before, and just like the perfect touch, I feel like.
We have our nice little matcha lattes. Very on brand. A little self-care for both of us.
What's yours? What's your go-to?
I mean, mine would also have a matcha, for sure. I think mine would be like going on a really nice long beach walk and then getting my hair blown out.
Oh my God. Amazing answer.
Yeah. Just because your girl's got like curly hair, you do too. So it's like, it's a lot of work.
There's things that are just simply better when other people do it for you, and it's blowouts, coffee or matcha, salads.
Yep.
Just like, they're always better when someone else does it.
Yes, it's a little pick-me-up. It's so good. So good.
Couldn't agree more.
What are like your favorite self-care rituals, affirmations, anything like that?
Okay, so my morning routine is full of self-love. I wake up and I meditate, and then I will fill out my gratitude journal. That's actually called the Gratitude Journal. It's like a brand, I don't know. But I swear by that book. I think it is a book of magic. Like every morning when I write in it, I swear I'm manifesting my reality, and it is just one of my favorite practices. I also would say like going on walks or daily movement. All of that is just like really sets me up for a perfect day.
We're the same because like my answer is the exact same. It's like my daily meditation, my intention setting, my journaling, my walks, all of these things. So like literally just preaching to the choir here.
Sometimes when you speak, I have to hold myself back from being like, me too, because I'm like, it's just too much. Like I can't keep saying like, me too.
I know. You and me both.
We're literally
we share the same brain cell, apparently. Okay, last fun little like icebreaker question. If self-love were a sport, what sport would it be and why?
Ooh, I think I'd say it would be yoga. Okay, and this is why. I love that in yoga, I feel like it's the only sport where you really set an intention before you get into it. And I think yoga is a practice where you can completely do it on your own. You can go as deep as you want with it, but then you can also root it in community and do it with people and make connections. And I feel like that really resonates with self-love.
I couldn't agree more. I have no comments on that one. Or no additional comments on that one. I agree fully. Yes, 100%. So we're going to get a little bit more into the meat of it. And my first question is, what does self-love mean to you?
Self-love is when I am my biggest fan, my best friend, my number one cheerleader, my favorite company. I think it's when I'm exuding the most confidence. And I don't think it means that I have everything figured out necessarily, but I have the confidence to know that I will figure it out, or I can figure it out. And so I think it's just that energy that you radiate and like knowing that you can do something, and just like believing in yourself and loving yourself and accepting that.
So we've all been down in ruts before. What is some advice that you can give to someone who feels very stuck?
I would say the first thing, especially when it comes to self-love, is absolutely eliminating any negative self-talk. I think this is something that happens to a lot of us, and it's really hard to kind of shut it down. But the second it happens, I think you need to step up and just kind of say, whether it's out loud or in your head, like, this is not acceptable, because your thoughts really do become your reality. And if you're talking negatively about yourself, like, you have to be your number one fan. You have to be your biggest cheerleader, and there's just no room for that.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. So when I went to ED therapy, this was the biggest thing that we talked about, was stopping yourself from, if you're already feeling bad about yourself, you're like, I feel really large in my body or whatever it is. It's like, then I would go to the bathroom and I would weigh myself. And it was like, okay, what was the point of weighing myself? To like look at the number and then like feel worse, which is like what I was doing. And then, or if like I looked at the number and it was good, then I would like feel good about myself. And it's like, why am I attaching my worth and like my happiness with like a number on the scale? And like, then also if I wasn't happy with it, then I would hyperfixate. I would like look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh, I don't like the way my stomach looks. It's like, then I'm just like hyperfixating on my stomach. And it's like, obviously it's going to feel larger then.
Yeah.
You know? So I think, yeah, being able to like stop negative self-talk and like really prioritize saying kind things to yourself. And I think at first it feels silly to be like, I love myself, but like genuinely, yes, like it makes a difference.
100%. Something that really helped me with self-love is being like committing to myself. So whether that's learning a new hobby or learning a new skill, or it could be as simple as saying I'm going to wake up early tomorrow and go to the gym, or it could be as crazy as I'm going to run this marathon. But regardless of what the thing is I'm committing to, it's like, do you show up for yourself day in and day out? And like over time, proving to yourself that you can learn that new hobby or complete that new skill. It's like, it is so self-gratifying, and it just pours self-love into yourself.
Yeah. And you also don't need to be the best at it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You can enjoy it without even being good at it.
100%. It has to have no ties. It doesn't have to have ties associated with it. It's simply the matter of just like showing up for yourself and like committing like you would for like a loved one or a significant other or a best friend. It's like putting that love back into yourself and committing to whatever it is that you said you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I also think just generally spending time alone is really good for self-love, and learning how to be your best company and doing the things that you actually want to do. Like when I first moved to LA, I knew no one. And so I spent pretty much every moment alone for a long time. And I felt like that was my most confident version of myself, or just like a transformational period of my life where I was like, I just get to wake up and I get to make every decision in this day. Like, what am I going to eat today? Where am I going to go? How am I going to spend my time? And it was so fulfilling and so self-gratifying that I feel like it just taught me a lot about alone time.
I love alone time. And I used to be like fearful of it. Like literally in college, like I lived with like 6 girls, you know, like I was always just like loving being around people, and like I grew up with siblings, and you know, so it's like I was always around people.
Yeah.
So like the idea of being alone, like even if I was just on a walk, I would have to call someone. Like I could never just like be with myself. Yeah. Which is crazy because I never even like saw that for what it was. Honestly, I was just like, yeah, I'm just an extrovert and da 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 da. But like now that I see it, it's like I was just constantly distracting myself from actually like dealing with my own issues that were deeper.
Or even like getting to know yourself.
Exactly.
Really.
Yes.
Because
Totally.
you're just distracted by other people or other things all the time.
Yeah.
And I would say like I'm kind of the opposite in that way. Like I love togetherness. Like I never really loved alone time.
Yeah.
But I realize how important it is, and like go out of my way to get that when I know I need it.
Totally.
But it's not like I need it. Like I don't like crave to be alone. It's so weird.
Yeah, I go through phases. So Rachel is a very busy bee, and she works a very demanding corporate job in tech. She also runs marathons and runs like every day of her life. And she also creates content. So how do you create time for self-love in such a high achieving, high motivation lifestyle?
Wow, thank you. I would say this came with time for sure. Like being mindful over the past, like, I don't know, I'd say like 5-6 years of like what really makes me my best self. And to that, I'd probably say it's getting enough sleep and moving my body every day and eating well. And I have found that if I do those 3 things, like I will bring my best self to the table every single day. And if I don't do those things, like I could be a completely different person. I think it's first and foremost figuring out what are those things that make you your best version of yourself. And then secondly, it's you have to find a way to prioritize them. Like that is the grounds for the day. Like if anything happens today, it's going to be those 3 things or whatever they are, you know? But I would say I'm a morning person, so I try to prioritize them. First thing I wake up, I have a really amazing app, if I could leave a recommendation, that is free, and it's called Habit Tracker. And it's just kind of like a checklist, and I made it into a widget, and it's something that I do every day, and I check off my habits that are most important to me. And I think it's just like there's something about checking off on a list and like feeling really good about getting those things done. And so if I could recommend anything, it's, you know, figuring out what it is to you and then making it a priority.
I love that, and I'm gonna need to get the widget.
Yeah, you are.
I do
really
like,
good.
yeah, I feel like I do the same thing, but like physically, like pen to paper. I do the 5-minute journal, you know, that like daily journal.
Love it.
And it does like at the end, it's like, what are 3 things that you could do today to make your day good? So it's like similar philosophy.
100%.
But I feel like it's so true because it really makes you like reframe your perspective on like what's important and what you actually want out of your day.
Yeah. And also like what makes you your best. Like and those honestly are the most important things that you're gonna do. Like
Yeah.
if I don't get like daily movement in, I'm gonna feel like
I'm a cranky
anxious,
bitch.
or yeah, truly, or like maybe it negatively impacts my sleep, and then it kind of impacts everything. So like as busy as I am or as busy as anyone is, it's like if you're not the bare minimum self that you need to bring to the table, it's like the rest of the day is out the window anyway.
Given that we're in such an era of social media and being online, how do you feel that social media shapes our idea around self-love and self-care?
Yeah. So I think social media can have a really negative connotation because people revert back to comparison. And I think it could be if you're looking at social media and you're going on there and you're comparing and you're saying, well, she has all these friends or she has all these cool outfits and I don't have this and I don't have that. And it's a mindset that is rooted in lack rather than rooted in abundance. And I think we should use social media as inspiration rather than comparison. Like if you go on social media and you see someone that has your dream job, instead of like that feeling of lack or comparison or maybe even envy or jealousy, it's like take that and be curious. Like ask that person like how they got there, or look and try to figure it out. Like what experiences did this person get that got them to this point, and how can I mimic that in my life rather than a feeling of I don't have that, you know?
I love that. And it's so true. It's like, let's use technology, I guess, in general, like as a tool
Totally.
for knowledge and growth versus comparison. And I think it comes back to what you were saying before about like a growth mindset versus like a lacking mindset, you know, glass half full, glass half empty. It's like, you know, being in a space where we both create content. It's like, it's very competitive. There's a bazillion people already doing it. It's like, it's hard sometimes to not compare, of course. My biggest thing is always been like, there is room for everyone and everyone brings their own unique viewpoint and voice. And like, we need more voices, you know?
100%. Yeah. And I think like, if you're going on your social media and it's bringing you down, it should like light you up to make you understand why is that happening? Why are you getting down from your social media? And like, is it negatively affecting your self-love? Because if it is, then maybe you need to take a step back or a break from it, which is totally fair. Like, I love a social cleanse, but at the same time, like, I do think you can change your perspective and look at it as inspiration rather than like comparison.
Okay, so obviously we both live in LA. It's a very like health conscious city. But at the opposite end, I feel like it's also a downside, and it can be easy to be really hard on yourself and your body. So how do you maintain a healthier relationship with your body?
Yeah, I think something that helps me is knowing that like my body will always ebb and flow. Like, there are different chapters of life, and so much can go into like how I feel about my body. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, am I taking good care of myself is the question I always root back to. And it's like, am I getting enough sleep? Am I getting enough water? Am I eating well? Like the basics. I think we really overcomplicate this space, and it's like going back into like the actual human basic needs is like something that always grounds me and makes me feel my most like myself.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we get caught up in like, we live in like a very consumerism society.
Totally.
So it's easy to be like, oh, I need this pill to get thinner and this and that and the next thing. And it's like, you really don't.
Yeah, it's also people looking for instant gratification and like, what can I do to get a quick fix?
Yes.
And honestly, like, I don't believe in that at all. Like, I don't think there are any quick fixes. I think like if whatever you're trying to achieve, like it probably is going to take time and a hell of a lot of effort.
Yeah. I talked about this a little bit in my last episode, how people now, like so many people are on like GLPs and trying to get like an instant weight loss. But first of all, we don't really know the long-term effects of how that's really affecting your body. Yeah. But second of all, it's like, it's a quick fix, but it's probably not going to last unless, one, you have a good relationship with yourself and your body and you're able to maintain healthy habits, you know?
Totally. Yeah. I think it's like looking at the root cause is way more of an effective approach than like, what could the quick fix be? Whatever it is. Like, it could be like, you know, a skin thing or anything. But yeah. I also think like if you take a step back, like beauty is like, I feel like beauty is energy. It's not so much physicality. And like, how can we get to a place where you feel good from within? Because honestly, like, we are all going to age. It's all going to change. Like, totally. And if you don't feel that self-love from within, like, it's going to be a rude awakening one day.
Right? And like, I feel like in general, both of us are very in tune with like energetics. And if someone is vibrating like a very positive energy, I feel like you're just naturally drawn in toward them.
100%.
You're like, you're glowing and you're radiating, and it's so true.
And it's not about the way they look.
No.
It's not. It's about the way they make you feel, and
yes.
It's the way they exude their confidence and their positivity in the room, and like a light really shines.
Totally.
When you can feel it from within.
The inner beauty, baby. So a big thing I feel like these days is setting boundaries, saying no to things, like different ways to love yourself that a lot of times I feel like people will say like, that's so selfish, when like really it's like, no, I'm putting myself first. Would you say like, do you have any examples of situations that you were put in like that?
Totally. I think having boundaries and being called selfish is like an oxymoron. It's like, boundaries are the highest form of self-love. Like, knowing what you stand for and what you're willing to do is just like, I think the most honorable thing you can do for yourself. And I think if you don't have boundaries, you kind of get to a place where it's like, you don't know what you stand for. You're willing to do anything. And like, you then aren't really in control of your own life and like what you're even doing on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. And so I really respect when people have boundaries, and I think it's like very admirable for them to hold them to.
Have you always had boundaries, or is that a journey?
That has been such a journey. I used to be like, say yes to life, say yes to everything. And I think as I've gotten older, I've just realized like, you know, you can say yes sparingly. You can say yes to the things that are a hell yes, and you can say no to the things that you're unsure about or are honestly not even enticing to you. Like,
if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel that.
I really feel that. I think that that is something to live by. And it is a really hard practice, and it is truly that. It's a practice, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. And I think the more you do it, the more true you'll probably feel to yourself, and it'll become easier with time.
Setting boundaries was not something that came natural for me. I have always been a people pleaser, and actually, like, I'm really opening up here, but like one of my like traumas from childhood was like always being called selfish. First of all, I don't really think any kid can be selfish. That word for me was super triggering because of my upbringing. So whenever someone said, "Oh, you're being selfish," then my people pleasing would kick in, and I'd be like, okay, now I need to like overextend and like do all these things and like make sure, and I'd get anxious and like want to make sure that they didn't think that I was being quote unquote selfish. And you know, it took years of me going to therapy for my therapist to be like, Miss Girl, you are not being selfish. You're putting yourself first. And like, again, if you're not putting yourself first, no, who is? No one.
Yeah.
So it's like
100%.
You got to take care of yourself. So yeah, it's a journey for sure, but I think being able to realize that like prioritizing yourself is not selfish, and like also you can't fill up someone else's cup if you're pouring from an empty cup.
I mean, the relationship you have with yourself is the only relationship you are going to have forever. And so there is like truth to being selfish and it being a good thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I think prioritizing yourself and what you care about is the most important thing you can do for self-love.
Watch a break. Cheers.
Cheers.
So I feel like we've talked a lot about self-love with ourselves, but I think another great question surrounding Valentine's Day is, how does self-love impact how we show up for partners and for others?
Totally. I think when you have the love for yourself, you are bringing your best person and your best self forward, and therefore you show up better in the world in every capacity. And I think like with your closest people, like they see you the most. They see you like in your best and your worst, and when you have that love from within, like really shines.
In a lot of relationships for myself too, it was like I was finding issues in things with them. But then when I really looked back and reflected on it, I was like, wait, no, these were my things actually. I was just projecting it, you know? So yeah, totally. I think like being able to like really take a look at yourself in the mirror and to be able to see your blind spots, which is hard. And sometimes it takes hearing it from another person or a therapist or whatever it is. But like to take that feedback in and to know that like, in order for me to show up as a good partner, like I need to be able to be loving to myself to be able to like give that to someone else as well.
Yeah, completely. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's like you can't love anyone else if you don't love yourself. So we've all heard that before, and I think it's so true.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Also, with it being Valentine's Day coming up, it's like there's such an emphasis on your relationship with a partner. How can we redefine love outside of romantic relationships?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be with a partner at all. And I think with Valentine's Day coming up, like it's such a perfect moment to pour that love into yourself and maybe think about what your perfect Valentine's Day looks like solo. And like maybe that's going on a really long walk. I'm talking like 4 to 5 miles, like long walk. Journaling, talking about yourself in your journal and like what goals and dreams you want to achieve. I think like taking yourself for a facial or going out to dinner with yourself doesn't have to be something crazy or expensive or anything like that. Like you can even take yourself on a date to your favorite coffee shop. Like it could be as simple or as big as you want to make it. But I think like setting yourself up to have your perfect day, if there is no romantic partner, like I think you could still have a really fulfilled Valentine's Day regardless.
In general, like Valentine's Day is just such like a U.S. commercialized holiday.
A Hallmark holiday.
Like they're just trying to make more money off of something. And it's like, if you are with a partner, it's like you should love them every single day, and it shouldn't be like such like this added pressure around Valentine's Day. But also if you're not with someone and you're single, it's like finding love for yourself, and I don't know, just like not having crazy high expectations that like Valentine's Day needs to be like any other day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be this like momentous moment in time. Like it could be as simple as you want it to be.
Yeah. And also like back to the comparison thing, you know? It's like so easy to be like, oh, well, I'm on social media and like, oh, they look like they're having the best Valentine's Day together. Oh, they went on this trip. Like that, I wish I was there. You know, it's like, how can we reframe this and be like, I am going to treat myself to a little self-care evening. I'm going to take a bubble bath. I'm going to put a face mask on, have a glass of red wine.
Lovely.
Meditate. It's like...
watch your favorite movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's like you can acknowledge that other people are having fabulous Valentine's Days, but you can also take a pause and be like, well, what would my perfect Valentine's Day look like? And then go do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also think it's one of those things where like you're going to attract whatever you're like exuding out. Mm-hmm. So if you're like, oh, woe is me, like... you know, like, oh, I just wish I was with a partner on Valentine's Day. It's like, ew, no. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, if you do feel like maybe down in the dumps, though, like surrounding yourself with your best friends or a girlfriend or someone that does lift you up is always a good idea, too.
Yes. And, like, I think not looking for validation from a hookup or a random person that you are feeling empty. So you're like, let me just go on a date with someone. It's Valentine's Day. It's like, no. Again, that's like searching like outwardly versus mm-hmm. like searching from within yourself. Because also it's like, I genuinely don't think that you will be happy in a relationship long term if you're not happy with yourself first.
100%. It's like looking for an escape, looking for like an avoidance in some ways. Like, where can I find the external validation outside of myself is never going to fill your cup. And that could be with anything. Like, it could be with someone's opinion, or it could be a date, or, you know, a random hookup. But I think, like, especially around Valentine's Day, it's like, why don't you think about like what's going to fill you up and like what's going to like really bring you joy? Like, what are the little joys that are like, what's your perfect day like?
The little things.
The little things.
What's a quick piece of advice that you would share with a younger version of yourself around self-love?
So, advice I'd give to my younger self, I'd say, one, self-love has to be a choice. Like, I don't think you just wake up one day and you're like, I love myself, like all is good, everything's great. Like, I really believe that you have to choose that path and be like, I'm no longer talking negatively about myself, and make that declaration. And then in addition to that, it's like, I don't know, committing to something, committing to yourself, or whatever it is you want to change about yourself. It's like showing up day in and day out is really going to show you that you like respect your own boundaries and respect whatever goals you have. And actually achieving whatever you set out to achieve is going to leave you with so much pride and so much self-love. And you're going to be like, I can do anything. It's like going to fill you with so much belief in yourself.
True that. I would also speak to confidence in almost like, I feel like I've said this before, but like a fake it till you make it sort of thing.
Oh yeah. Love it.
Yeah. Like for me, I think it was just like, the more I told myself like, yeah, I'm the shit, and like, yeah, I can do that. It's like, I didn't feel that way, but I just kept telling myself that like, I was like trying to live the life that I wanted, you know?
Yeah. Instead of the life you had.
Yeah. And then like eventually it happened, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like,
I mean, I think that's part manifesting. It's part like speaking it into reality. Like, and it's part of positive self-talk. It's like, yeah, you're pretending you're something that you want to be, and it's going to come to fruition.
God, I love an affirmation. And I was so anti. I was like, ew, this is gross. Like, the girls who do that are chooky. Like, I was so mean about it. I was like,
wow, I'm
why?
surprised.
Yeah, I used to be like,
on board from the beginning.
No, I used to be like super anti. I was like, absolutely not. I'm never doing that. It's stupid. And then
okay, so what are your favorite
literally what happened for me?
now?
Oh my gosh. My favorite affirmations for now. My like current mantra that I have been saying a lot is I am loving awareness.
Ooh,
which is a Ram Dass mantra. And I kind of switch mine up on the seasons depending on how I'm feeling, but that's been my latest for probably the last 6 months. It's been that. That's where I'm at in my journey right now. I think
it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's simple, but it's also complex at the same time. But it's been working for me.
It doesn't have to be anything crazy.
No, exactly.
You need to really believe it, though.
Yes. Yeah. So like my things that I write down every day are, I am kind, I am loving, I am living with passion and purpose. That's a really big one for me. And I think when again, it like goes back to me being so anti it before. Like literally I was like, the only girls who do that are weird. Like I'm not doing that. Same thing with vision boarding. I'm like, ew, no.
Oh my God, I'm shocked to hear this.
I literally was like, this stuff is bullshit. Like I'm not doing it. And then I was down bad and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Why am I being so judgmental on something that is clearly working for other people? It's like, who am I to judge? You know?
Yeah.
Why get off my fucking high horse and try it out. And so I felt weird about doing it for a bit. And like I didn't start like sharing online that I was doing it for a bit. And then I was like, wow, this is working. Like I feel so much better.
Yeah.
So then I like started posting about it and was like, yeah, I've been doing this thing. It's called journaling, affirmations.
I mean, the vision board is just like a visualization practice. Like if you can see it, you can become it, you can go after it. Like I really believe in visualization. Like even when I meditate, it's like picturing this really hard thing that you're going to do and how you would react if you had to overcome a part of it, and like what does success look like in it. And I just feel like there's so much power in seeing yourself do something, even if it's never happened before.
Totally. Yeah, that's half the battle. And there's been like so many like studies now that have shown and proven that we don't remember like everything that we take in, but you remember how you feel about something. So if you can visualize it and attach like how you feel, as you were saying, like how does it make you feel to have won the marathon or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah.
It's like then you remember it because your body remembers feelings.
Funny that you mentioned the marathon because I did visualization a lot in preparation for my marathon. For context, I ran a marathon in Antarctica like a month ago, and I visualized myself like totally struggling through it, like failing, falling, passing out, like, and how would I pick myself up off the ground and continue to finish? Like I went that far to do it. I trained for it. Like how am I going to get my body physically across the line? And honestly, the marathon was so hard. Like there were moments where I was running with my eyes closed. Like I was struggling. And like, I remember the feeling of like, okay, I visualized crossing that finish line. Like I'm going to do it no matter what.
Yeah. And you did. And not only did you cross the finish line, you placed like third place?
Okay. There's not that many people that do it, but thanks.
I'll brag for you.
Thank you.
It's pretty sick. So I think just like actually being able to like feel emotion attached to like what you want is what's going to like really instill that value of like I'm going to get there and like propel you forward with it.
It's going to inspire you and motivate you, and it's going to get you there.
Yeah, and it's crazy too with the vision boarding thing. It was like when I made my vision boards for 2024 and then I reflected back on them this year for 2025, it was crazy on things that like are so subconscious, you know? It's like I did not have Pilates instruction being on like my 2025 bingo card, right? You know, but like it was in some of the photos that I made on like my health and wellness vision board. And then like here I am now leading Pilates. So it's really crazy how
that works.
Yeah.
The universe works in divine ways.
It really does. So yeah, like write it down, create a vision board. Like, I don't know, something about it. What is one small step that someone can take to love themselves a little bit more?
The first step is setting the time aside, and maybe it's something as simple as 5 or 10 minutes, and it could be something that you've been neglecting or something that you've been drawn to maybe, and it could be meditating or journaling or maybe even a gratitude practice, and taking those 5 to 10 minutes right when you wake up in the morning. I think if you're consistent with a practice like this, like, you will see a difference in your overall attitude, in the way you feel about yourself, in the way you show up in the world. And I think it doesn't have to be these crazy big changes. Like, making a change over time involves a lot of right actions and a lot of right decisions along the way. And so I would say, like, something small is just 5 to 10 minutes of whatever that thing is.
Little by little, we get there. That's
100%.
it. Want to say a huge thank you to our special guest today, Rachel, for joining us on this episode.
Thank you for having me. It was so fun to chat with you about it, and I hope everyone has an amazing Valentine's Day.
We love you all, and I will see you next month.
Bye.